Hello everyone, my name is Nikki and I'm an AmeriCorps member with VINES, Volunteers Improving Neighborhood Environments. And it's Bruncher season here in Binghamton, so you might be bringing home a lot of vegetables, and maybe you're wondering, with some of them, what are you going to do with these? And one of those vegetables that a lot of people feel like they don't like or they don't know how to cook is beets. So I'm going to show you a recipe today that uses beets to make brownies.
For this recipe, you're going to need a beet, buttermilk, unsalted butter, sugar, cocoa powder, salt, 2 large eggs, vanilla extract, unbleached flour, baking powder, and dark chocolate chunks. So the recipe calls for 1 large beet. So what you're going to do is you're going to wash your beet and remove the stems, and then you're going to wrap that beet in aluminum foil and roast it in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for at least an hour until it's soft to the touch. So once your beet has cooled enough, you want to start taking off the skin along the outside of it. After I peeled it, I chopped the beet up into smaller pieces. That's just my preference. You probably don't have to do that. Now I'm putting it into a blender that I'm going to add the buttermilk to. The recipe suggests 1/4 cup buttermilk, but that the amount varies depending on your blender, and you have to add enough buttermilk to be able to get a nice smooth consistency. So just add or subtract depending on what you think you're going to need. The recipe calls for 1 cup of this puree, and they suggest that if you have extra puree, you can use that in pancake batter or soups, or if you have enough, you could just make a second batch of brownies. Now that you have your beet puree, you're going to preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit and grease your pan. While your oven's heating up, you're going to use a saucepan over medium heat to melt your butter. Make sure you stir it as it's melting. When your butter starts to get a little brown bits and it starts to smell a little caramelized, you're going to remove that pan from the heat. Now you're going to add your sugar, your cocoa powder, and your salt. In another bowl, you're going to beat your eggs. Then after your butter mixture is cooled down, you're going to pour your eggs into the pot with the sugar, butter, and cocoa powder. Stir it until it's really well mixed up. Now you're going to add your vanilla extract and your beet puree and mix that all together. Now add your flour and your baking powder. Last but not least, add your chocolate chunks and mix them in. And then bake 25 to 35 minutes in your oven. And there you have it. There's our beet brownies. This recipe makes a slightly less sweet brownie than you might be used to, but it's still pretty tasty. And it's a handy way to sneak a little extra nutrition into your diet.